Welcome on Chaoszine. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. I just arrived like half an hour ago, and yeah, it's my first time at this festival. So yeah, it's nice, good vibes, and very warm.
Do you remember the first time that you heard metal music?
Oh my God. Yeah, probably when I was, a young teenager. My brothers listened a lot to, like, I have two older brothers, and they would listen a lot to, bands like Korn and and stuff like that, AC/DC, and but I actually got into metal music a bit later in my life.
Do you remember the first time that you listened to some harsh vocals?
Yeah, I think it must be when I heard that Korn song. I don't even remember the name of it, but it's where he does this kind of throat singing, growling thing. What's the name of that song? He does it, and I was like, wow. And I've always loved singers that have strong expressions vocally, and singers like Janis Joplin and Robert Plant, and singers that can really scream. I've always loved that, as well as, of course, I love soft singing, but just the whole spectrum of the voice has always fascinated me a lot.
Do you remember the first time that you joined a band?
Oh, wow. Yes. I was very young. I was like probably 12 or 13, and it was in my village in Goethe, where I'm from. We created this band. It was like a garage band. We would rehearse in an old garage every day. And I must have been like 12 or 13 years old.
Do you remember the name of the band?
Yes. It was called Seppband, which means it's something you use for sheep, like some kind of bandage you use for the farmers use for sheep. And we thought it was a really cool name because it had the name band in it, so it was like Seppband.
How long did it take you to shape your vocal technique?
I'm still working on it. But I mean, I think for me, it's almost like a way of life. It's a journey, and it's something I've always been curious about ever since I was very young. And I always wanted to, explore a lot with my vocal. And I've had both, like, ups and downs. You have to get to know your instrument. I think you learn a lot from your downs when you're struggling. You get to know your body and your voice even more. So I think from all the experiences just that I've had, just by living and singing my whole life, has just been shaping the way I sing today, I guess. And I still see it as an evolving thing. I'm not afraid to change.
Do you remember when you started singing? On which songs would you practice?
When I was like in my teenage years, I knew that I wanted to be a singer. That was like, I'm going to be a singer. I was always in my family, there was a lot of singing, and I grew up listening to or singing the folk songs of the family and of my village. I got the access actually to the church in my village, where I loved to go in the evenings when it was dark outside. I would go there and rehearse. I didn't rehearse any specific songs. I liked to just improvise and sing into this big reverby room, like, oh, yeah. So that was kind of the way I would practice when I was starting out.
Do you remember the first time that you toured in Europe?
My goodness, there have been so many tours. I really have to think. It started like gradually, and me like touring all over Europe is quite recent, actually, because for many years I mostly toured in Scandinavia, and then I started touring a lot in Germany as well. And then, over time I started, getting into other territories with my music. And I think like maybe the past 5 or 6 years I've been touring Europe. So it's a new thing for me to be like touring all over Europe, like I'm doing right now. I'm very, very pleased with that. Very grateful.
Can you share with us your parents' reactions to your vocals?
My parents. Well, they've always been very supportive, about me wanting to be an artist. Now that I think about it, it can't have been an easy job for them to have like a young teenager in a village far away who wants to be a singer. Like, that's not a job. But my parents were always very supportive in that, and they wanted me to do what I love doing. So yeah, I don't know. They're not like all like wow, but they're like, you did good. And that means a lot, the support from your parents, it just means a lot. It still does. And my father is not with us anymore, but I always think of him when I sing, and it's just something very grounding in having supportive parents, and it gives you like strength and courage.
Are there any food or drinks that you avoid before doing a show?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I don't like to eat like 4 hours before the show. I try to not eat any food, because the best thing is to go on stage and not be full, because you want to be high in energy. And actually just had my meal right now. So I just try to, and chocolate is not good for singers. It's just messes up your voice, I think, before the shows. So I don't eat chocolate. So that chocolate you gave me has to wait until later. After the show, I'll be like, drinks. Yeah, I try to stick to water as much as I can. Water and coffee before the show. Sometimes maybe a glass of red wine, but not more than that. Otherwise, I'll be all sloppy in my vocal cords, I think. So I save the drinks for later also. Yeah, after show is the big celebration, and before show is more like the concentration vibe. Yeah.
So you are still like an amazing artist doing so many tours and records and releases. Do you have any advice for someone that is just starting to be an artist, a musician, or a singer?
Yeah, well, I think that if you know that you want to be an artist, and if you want it badly enough, my best advice is that, get back on your feet every time you fall, and keep trying again, and keep believing in yourself and in your passion and in your art. And that's like the main fuel for the whole thing, because it's not an easy path to choose for anyone, and it's going to be full of challenges and falls, and it's just so important to rise up again and to keep doing what you love, and good things will come to you eventually if you keep doing it and get better at it.